Hello everyone, Mr. Chen here to go over our last topic before the mid-final. So, please turn your notes packet to the very last page on solving rational equations. I'm just going to read over the main idea, and we can go from there. So there's two ways when we solve rational equations. Now have an equal sign with terms on both sides of equal sign. So first way is called proportions, meaning just you have a fraction equal a fraction. And you can use the idea of cross multiplying to solve. The other one is using the lowest common denominator. So what we're going to do is we're going to multiply the equation by the least common denominator on both sides. And we'll show you how to do that too. And just remember to always check your answer. Remember we talked about how 0 cannot be in a denominator. No 0 in denominator, right? Something to look out for to make sure that our solution isn't what makes it 0 in the denominator. Okay, so let's go ahead and zoom in. We're looking at number 1 here. Right now, I have 7 divided by negative 6. Sorry, 7 divided by x minus 6 equals to 4 over x. So the first method, I'm going to kind of chop this in half of cross multiplying. You will multiply 7 times x equal to 4 times x minus 6. Okay, that's what you do in this situation. So then we get 7x equals 4 parentheses x minus 6. Let's go ahead and solve. 7x equals 4x minus 24 minus 4x to both sides. 3x equals negative 24. Divide by 3 to both sides. X equals negative 8. By the way, as we go through these problems, please make sure you feel free to pause, go back, or rewatch in case you need to hear something again or you need time to write something down. When I ask you to pause to try the problem yourself, please make sure you do that. So, in this problem, we got that x is equal to negative 8. Let's just do a quick mental check. Let's plug this negative 8 back in. Negative 8 minus 6, negative 14. Good. That's 0 in the denominator. Negative 8 over here. 4 over negative 8. That's fine. As long as it's not a 0, your answer is valid. So this is a valid answer. Okay? All right. So what we did there was the method number 1 when we did cross multiplying. So now we are going to now try the other method. We're going to try to multiply by the LCD on both sides, lowest common denominator. So back to when we were adding and subtracting rational expressions, we talked about lowest common denominator. In this case, the LCD, the lowest common denominator, is x times x minus 6. Because of our denominators being x and x minus 6, I gotta multiply them together to get the lowest common denominator. So now, once we do that, that means we gotta take this amount and we're gonna multiply it to both sides of the equation. So it's a little bit long, but let's write it out. X times x minus 6 all over 7 over x minus 6 on the left equals to 4 times x minus 6 all over x on the right. And once we do that, we can do some dividing here. X minus 6 cancel out. X's cancel out. Divide, not cancel. But as you can see, you end up getting the exact same thing as before. See that connection right there? Let me use a different color. See that connection right there, right? You end up getting the same thing as cross multiplying. So, it'll probably be a little bit easier for you to just cross multiply. But remember, you can only cross multiply when you have a one fraction like this on both sides of the equal sign, and then you can cross multiply. Okay? So let's take a look at another problem. Let's see. Okay, let's do number 4. So for number 4, let's go ahead and cross multiply here. 3 times 8 is 24. By the way, what does it matter? You can do the bottom and top, or top and bottom first. It doesn't matter in terms of order. And then let's do the other side. n plus 3, n minus 2. We got to do some multiplying binomials, which is actually on your final. So then on the right side, you can do FOIL, you can do box method, whatever you want. I'm going to review box method really quick. Here we go. So m plus 3, n minus 2, m squared minus 2m, 3m minus 6. So my 24 is equal to m squared plus m minus 6. At this point, this becomes solving a quadratic equation. You gotta make sure to make the equation equal to 0. So minus 24 to both sides. So get 0 equals m squared plus m minus 30. Once you get here, you see a trinomial. So of course, you should use a big X. In this case, I believe is 6 and negative 5. So then you get m plus 6, 0 equals m plus 6 times m minus 5. And you know that it's by the zero product property that either m plus 6 equals 0 or m minus 5 equals 0. So your answer, minus 6 to both sides, plus 5 to both sides, you get m is equal to negative 6 or positive 5. But with rational equations, you gotta do one check. Let's plug in, let's make sure these two values do not make my denominator equal 0. 5 minus 2 is 3, we're good. Negative 6 minus 2 is negative 8, not 0. So these are our valid answers, okay? So please make sure you double check to make those two, for the answer to be valid. We're gonna do 2 more examples here. Let's go all the way to number 8. Alright folks, I actually meant number 9, my bad. So let's look at number 9 for a second. So right now, as you notice, we can't just cross multiply, because then we have 2 terms here. 1 term, 2 term. Cross multiplying is not the best option here. Instead, we're going to do what method 2 was. If you think about method 2, we got to multiply by the common denominator, or to be specific, the lowest common denominator. So let's do some simplification here. Let's do some factoring. So I know that right here, this is equal to 8. P plus 2, P minus 2, our difference of squares. I'm going to write the left side exact the same. Nothing's changing there. I know that this denominator is 1 right there. So my lowest common denominator would actually be P plus 2 times P minus 2. That means I'm going to multiply the whole equation. I'm going to multiply everything on left and right by P plus 2 and P minus 2. That's a really bad P. Sorry about that. So we have to distribute this P plus 2, P minus 2 to all 3 terms. Here, here, and here. Okay? But it's a little bit easier than you think. So take a look here. So focusing on this first term right here, the P minus 2 will divide out with this P minus 2. So what I'm really multiplying is P times P plus 2. Once again, notice that the P minus 2 would divide with this P minus 2. Okay? Let's look at the second term. What we're going to be multiplying here is the 2 with this right here. Nothing cancels out. Nothing divides because the denominator is just 1. So then we are going to have plus 2P plus 2, P minus 2. And lastly, we're going to multiply this third term right here with this. But you should notice that the P plus 2, the P minus 2 will cancel out with P plus 2 and P minus 2. Sorry, divide. So all I'm left on the right side is an 8. And now we just simplify. That's a lot easier than you think. One step at a time. P times P, P squared, P times 2 plus 2P. Over here, I see this pattern right here, P plus 2 times P minus 2. That's very simple. I know that that is just 2 times P squared minus 4. A plus B times A minus B. So just first and last, okay? And all of that is going to equal to 8. You can always feel free to pause and try to solve yourself, but I'm just going to keep simplifying. Adding like terms, etc., etc., etc. Plus 2p squared minus 8. P squared plus 2p equals 8. Add like terms here. P squared plus 2p squared. 3p squared. 2p stays the same, plus 2p. And then minus 8 to both sides. I can make the equation equal to 0. So now it's all equal to 0. And now I have to factor. Oh wait, sorry, so that's a minus 16, huh? My bad. Negative 8 minus 8, that's a minus 16. So now what you gotta do is a big X. Sorry, I ran out of room. Hopefully you didn't run out of room, but if you did, right on the side. So now I got to do the big X with 3p times p. I got break down negative 16 here. What is the correct pair to get multiply the negative 16 into? We can do 1 negative 16, 2 8, 4 4. I think it might be 8 2 here. Let me see. Let me try something here. What if we do 2 and 8? Has to be negative, right? So negative 2? Let's check. So 3p times negative 2 is negative 6p. And then 8 times p is plus 8p. And that's equal to 2p. Oh, perfect. So then that matches up right there. All right. So now our factor form is 3p plus 8 times p minus 2. Once again, I apologize for running out of room here. So then if I rewrite my equation, I have 3p plus 8 times p minus 2 equals 0. Of course, you know how to solve. Two different equations, zero product property. We get 3p plus 8 equals 0, or p minus 2 equals 0. Plus 2 to both sides, we get p equals 2. Or minus 8 to both sides, we get 3p equals negative 8. Divide by 3 to both sides, we get p equals negative 8 over 3. But, so now the answer, what it looks like is over here. P equals 2 or p equals negative 8 over 3. We have to do our check. That's check to make sure that neither one of these make the denominator equal to 0. I'm looking at the original problem. Looking at the denominator. Obviously, no problem with negative 8 over 3. Because negative 8 over 3 minus 2 is not 0, and so forth. But the 2 is an issue. Look, 2 minus 2 is 0. That would make my expression become p divided by 0. That would make it the answer undefined, the problem undefined. Therefore, in this case, p over 2 is not a solution, right? P equals 2 is not a solution since it makes denom equal denominator equal 0. So please make sure that you check at the end to make sure your answer does not make denominator equal 0. All right, we're going to do one last question. Right now, I will ask you to pause and attempt number 11. Pause and attempt number 11. When you're ready, restart. We can go over this together. All right, go ahead. All right, we're back. So looking at number 11 here. So once again, we notice that there is a 2 there. I can't cross multiply because I have 2 terms. So in this case, you should go with method number 2. You gotta multiply both sides by the lowest common denominator. In this case, actually pretty simple, right? So if I add the 1 underneath, but I take a look at denominators, it's actually just x plus 3. So that means I'm going to multiply the whole equation by x plus 3. Okay, let's do it one at a time. So x plus 3 times this first term. The x plus 3's would divide, become 1's. So the left side simply becomes x plus 6. It's pretty straightforward here. Now let's do it with a second term. I'm going to use blue. So if I do on this term, it just becomes equals 2 times x plus 3. And lastly, let's do it with the x plus 3 right here. You notice that the x plus 3 and x plus 3 will divide out. So that will become, on the right side, just 5x plus 12. Plus, oh, it's a minus. I almost made a mistake here. Gotta be careful. Make sure you write a minus sign in. I'm writing my minus sign in here. So minus 5x plus 12. At this point, just do a bunch of simplifying. X plus 6 is the same. Distribute the 2. 2x plus 6. Distribute a negative sign. Negative 5x minus 12. Combine like terms here. Oof, this is a mess. X plus 6 equals 2x times plus that, negative 3x. 6 and minus 12, negative 6. I'm going to bring everything to the right to make things positive. I don't have to actually. Hold up. I got solve here, right? So I'm going to minus 6 here. I'm going to plus 3x here. Just so I get my variable on one side and everything else on the other. That cancels, becomes 0. That subtracts, becomes 0. So I get 4x equals negative 12. X divided by 4 to both sides. X equals negative 3. Once again, if you pause there, you forgot to check. We got to check. We got to check if our answer of x equals negative 3 works. Does it make number equal 0? Ooh, look at that. Negative 3, right? X, negative 3 plus 3 is 0. Therefore, this is not a valid answer. We cannot use that as a solution. And therefore, since that's the only value of x we got, this problem has no solution. Okay? So please, please, please make sure that you double check to see if something has a solution or not by plugging it in to the denominator of the original equation. Okay, you got to check. All right, people. Right now, please go ahead and attempt all the other... Sorry, your homework, I apologize, is the odd problems, right? So your job is to go back and try them. And answers on Google Classroom, please, please, please check your answer. If you don't get it, please bring questions on Thursday, ready to work and ask. But before we go over our finals, this is your last topic of the year. Time to get to work, folks. Thank you.